Oh, hello. That would be a black widow that I'm just hanging out with under the car all day. That's not terrifying or anything. Whoa! Hey everybody, welcome back to Fully Spooled, episode 10. This is very exciting for a couple reasons. Number one, it's the 10th episode. Number two, we're going to be getting the engine made into the transmission finally and put into the Lexus, hopefully using the mounts that I made last episode. So that's really exciting. This has been filmed over about a month and a half of time, so you'll see a lot of different t-shirts and outfits and hairstyles and stuff, but just kind of ignore that with me and we'll get through this together. So first up, we'll be getting the transmission out of its box and mated to the engine to put everything into the car. Yep, there it is. There's probably one right way to do this and like a dozen wrong ways, so I'm just gonna give it a shot. Yeah. Okay, it's out. Just like this. Flex plate can go in the trash. I'm not going to put the flywheel on yet or the clutch or anything because it'll just make it heavier, and I need to take it all apart again anyway later on to do final assembly before it goes in. So for now, I'm just going to bolt the bell housing to the engine block, and that's it. I've already had this engine and transmission and bell housing together once before when I was going to put this entire setup in my Bricklin, which is over there. And I decided to go with an automatic transmission on that car because I'm not really going to be hooning around in a 1974 Bricklin. And I figured, well, I already have the transmission, I already have the bell housing, I already have the engine. Let's just put this together into the Lexus and, make a race car. I just realized I forgot something very important. I forgot to put this in between the bell housing and the engine block. Oh man, I'm hitting so many roadblocks with this thing. That's what happens when you have a transmission and belt housing and stuff that you bought 4 years ago for a different project, and then you moved in between projects. Anyway, I thought it was these bolts that I needed. These bolts, it turns out, are for an automatic transmission 4L60E. But I needed these bolts. I had to actually go and find archival photos that I took of this 4 years ago to figure out that I needed these bolts with these washers. All right, so okay, so Matt's here again. Awesome. Thanks to Matt for coming to help get the engine and transmission into the car. We're gonna just get started. It's like 95 degrees today, and we're gonna be just pouring sweat.
you're not going to crush your hood latch.
Yeah.
And then use the core support to...
Well, I have this wood. We can put wood there.
Yeah, that's fine. Just something that'll allow us to let it rotate down.
Okay. Oh, it moved backwards. Keep jacking yours up, I guess. It has to go lower. Now it has to go lower now.
Yeah, the issue is when I flatten it out, it gets higher.
All right, let's pull the whole thing out.
Poop.
Yep. All right, here I am under the car, and we can't get the transmission in because this is the bottom of the QuickTime bell housing, and this is the top of the cross member on this like back subframe piece, and they are hitting. And if we go high enough to clear that, then we hit on top at the tunnel for the transmission. So I either need to trim the bottom of the bell housing off or trim the top of this piece. And I have seen that other people have trimmed the top of this cross member, so I might have to do that. You'll have to excuse my profuse sweating. It is unsightly, but it's like 96 degrees today and freaking awful. Alright, so I need to trim down this cross member here to make the QuickTime bell housing flange fit in here, as well as make clearance for the oil pan. The oil pan is 10 inches at its widest, it seems, from side to side. So if I measure here, I can see 10 inches is pretty much exactly from this nub right here to this nub right here. So I'm just going to cut down on this nub. I'm going to do like a little notch here, and then cut along here, cut down here, then cut along here to move this whole piece out. That is super, super loud. I should have put in earplugs like an idiot. Okay, one more cut to do. On the back side. Well, it's out. It's kind of sloppy, but whatever. It's out. It's done. Moving on.
Is the flywheel, the bell housing gonna clear?
I don't know. Oh, the bottom?
Yeah.
I mean, we had it back further before. I don't know why all of a sudden we can't.
I'm sure we can. That's not the issue. I'm just curious if you can see if it's gonna.
I mean, I'm not sure. Can we go back now?
I can push the engine, but I have nothing else with the hoist.
Should we take off that metal bar up there? The impact crash bar?
The what?
That aluminum crash bar that's the thing hitting?
Oh, this.
The crash bar.
No. It would just make this thing.
Yeah, but this piece can unfold. Oh yeah,
here?
Yeah, you can unbolt there. You can unbolt there. Yeah, this whole piece comes off.
Then we should do that.
All right. There we go. Slide it in. Wow, that is lightweight.
Aluminium.
That's how you make a crash beam. I'm like the steel crazy ones that are like 70 pounds. This thing is like what, maybe 10 pounds or so? Clearance.
Get under there.
Well, shit. I mean, it is technically fitting.
And as we know, technically correct is the best kind of correct.
So to center the engine up in the engine bay, I'm going about it a not exactly scientific method, but I think it's fairly accurate. I figured that the sway bar has to be mounted horizontally in the engine bay exactly, and then we have the mounts on the passenger side and the driver's side that have these bolts up here. So I figured, well, if that's the same distance front to back as the bolt up on this side, if I take my tape measure and put it lined up exactly with those bolts, then I'll get a center line for the engine bay. And since that's, you know, just a hair over like 30 inches, it's like 30 and, you know, almost a quarter inches. So if it's 15 and an eighth to the, let's see, to the nut on the crankshaft, that's pretty much as centered as I'm going to get. So this feels pretty centered to me. And of course the engine being level means that it seems like everything is where it should be, clearance-wise and placement and everything. I mean, the back has some decent firewall clearance, and if I want to go back a little more, I can adjust my sliders on my engine mounts down there. So I feel like this is a pretty good place for the engine to be. Here's the passenger side mounted up, and then the driver's side, which clears the steering column shaft. The hood is on. So inside the engine bay, if you look up here above the intake manifold, there's a good, I mean, at the front, at the highest point of the engine, there's about 2 inches of clearance, and there's actually so much space that the truck oil filler tube even clears no problem, fitting straight up. It's kind of amazing how well the engine fits in here. And with this much clearance on the bottom end. It's pretty cool. Oh, that is so exciting. That is so exciting. The transmission's pretty much lined up center. I'll have to end up cutting a hole out here for the shifter to go through, but it fits. I am blown away by this. Alright, that wraps up episode 10. The engine is in the car and the hood is closed and it fits, and I'm still kind of shocked, but I'm just gonna be happy that that part is done with so I can move on to the next project, of which there are many, like the drive shaft and the rear differential welding and then the suspension and the clutch master cylinder, and there's all kinds of stuff I had to figure out on this, and they will all be future episodes. So that's really something to look forward to for me. In the meantime, feel free to check out my new website at fullyspooled.com. It has links to my social media stuff, and then some photos and some info and stuff on there as well. So yeah, that's it for this episode. Thanks everybody for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, please feel free to like and subscribe because it helps me a lot, and I will see you next video. I never know what to do with my hands.